Welcome, everybody. My name is Jacob, and I, today, along with a great friend of mine, am going to just basically tear apart a bunch of AI art. I mean, within reason. I do want to make the qualification here. Please do not go after anybody you see in this video. I do not condone that. If you have anybody that you want to direct your anger at, how about you go to the corporations that actually make these things happen? That would probably be a better use of your time than harassing some poor person who just wanted to try out Midjourney for the first time. This is not going to be mocking the person who is making the thing, because, fun fact, the person isn't making anything. It's just the computer. So we can make fun of the computer all we want. Isn't that right, Stephen?
Yes.
Hooray. All right, so first off, I want to introduce a great friend of mine. You already heard his name. This is Steven, aka The One You Lost. He is a fantastic artist. You can follow him right here on his Twitter. And yeah, great artist, great stuff. You go see it, you'll understand. How are you today, Steven?
Oh, I'm doing good. Ready to make fun of some weirdness.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. So, how long have you been an artist?
I've started drawing in 6th grade, but really didn't start kind of getting better at it till about 4 years ago, where I started to take it more seriously. But yeah, I'm definitely improving and getting to be an artist that I'm starting to become proud of.
I'd say you have a lot to be proud of already, but I respect the humbleness. So, what are your thoughts on AI generated images?
So my opinion is greatly different from where it was 2 years ago. When it first came out, I was definitely scared because all the things that have come to pass nowadays, I rightfully predicted, because let's be honest, smarter people than us told us the dangers of AI before it even happened, and they're not Nostradamus, but it just makes sense that things turn out the way they are now. So that makes sense. But my opinion has changed for the corporations are the problem, not the people using it. There are some people who can be a bit gung ho about it, but I'm personally of the mindset that I'm going to leave the normal people who just want to use it for fun alone and focus
Mhm.
more on criticizing the companies that want to use it as a quote unquote replacement for artists.
Yeah, I find when they try to do that, like fully replace artists with AI, I have someone who's commissioned art. You should know I've commissioned you.
Yes.
And I find what comes when I'm trying to have something change is that an artist or another person is a lot better at interpreting what I want. I think the only time that ever was confusing was when I had someone where English wasn't their first language, so it was hard to convey what I wanted. But I could
Yeah.
provide references, and I could say, uh, "Try this angle," and they were to be a lot better at written. Words are hard. I feel like I'm AI generated sometimes. But I find that an artist or a human artist is a lot better at interpreting what I want, whereas a prompt might just completely change things up based on what I said.
Right. A big issue that a lot of AI artists have is the fact that when you're commissioning something, an artist will be able to change things on the fly. Now, we may charge you if they do too many corrections, but an AI prompter, let's say you like everything the AI is doing, but then you want to
Hmm.
change the arm. Now, you can technically, with a lot of today's AI, you can like move things around and change things and then say fix it. But the AI is not actually very good at interpreting the fixes. So you still
Hmm.
get wonkiness. And like the best way I can describe it is if you are commissioning someone who might be doing AI and you say, I like everything, just move the arm to a totally different position. And the AI is like, what the crap do I do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's hard to fix things.
It makes me think of the Connect, like when the Connect first started and the tracking was very confused. If you
Yeah,
stepped just a little bit backwards, it would think you morphed into your couch or that you completely disappeared.
right.
That led to many embarrassing moments for me. So I wanted to do today was to go through a bunch of different places that have used AI. Some of it just for fun, some of them are full on accounts dedicated to this, some ads, and even some that I would say do look cool. But I wanted to go through and like see the ways that computers try to interpret reality.
Hmm.
and more specifically, how they messed it up royally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen. All right, you can
Okay.
see.
I can
Oh
see.
God, it's doing the thing. All right, now first I wanted to click on this. This is an Instagram account. Someone I know keeps like sharing these images.
Hmm.
Can you see the account?
Yes, I can see the account.
All right, so let's just go through and see. These are all AI generated.
Hmm.
Starting first with, oh, for God's sake. I have to log in for this, but I think you can see some of these things.
Yes.
The first one I want to focus on is actually that Tony Stark one. This is something
Hmm.
I see AI does a lot when it tries to capture a feeling of anguish or laughter. The mouth gets huge.
Hmm. The big thing I notice especially, and this is going to be a common theme through everything we do, but the lighting doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's the lights behind it, but what's actually shining on him?
There looks like there should be a bright orange light or a very warm light that should be casting, yet everything around that isn't Tony does not have this lighting on it.
Yeah, that's true. I think they're, if you see on the weight plates, also, is he holding that weight in a safe way?
It's not in the correct place, no. He's also not technically holding it. If you look at his left arm, his left, our right.
Yeah, what is,
His hand is fused with the bar.
oh, that, something's gone wrong there. Also, I mean, I know that there's like a thing with bodybuilders and their veins, but he does not have veins. He has coolant pipes going through his arms.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to say, I am not someone who is particularly muscular, but you have to admit that doesn't look right. All right, so this
Oh,
next one,
Instagram.
this actually is going to be a big part of the video, which thankfully does actually still show up. So
Mhm.
this is actually one of the things that I referenced in the video itself. So this guy, from what I understand, is one of the CEOs of one of these AI generators,
Mhm.
and he went viral a while ago in the worst way by talking about how prompting requires time and effort because he had to do different things to get these results.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you what you thought about people who say, because there's a lot of AI artists who say things like, this took time, so therefore it took effort.
Time is not a full evaluation of what effort consists of. They are rolling a slot machine. That does not take effort. They are using prompts. Like technically, the only skills they had to learn was how to tell the AI to do something, but they themselves have not done anything to generate the artwork. The computer has done all the work. In a way, you can call that effort, but you can't call that art. They are not craftsmen. They are professional commissioners.
Especially because for a craftsman, you have to have tools. And he
They
actually
are no
says
different.
further
Like the
down,
best way I can put it is they are no different from a commissioner telling somebody what they want. They're not an artist because they didn't make it. Something else did.
mhm. And I actually wanted to focus on these images because these are the ones he says that after all that time were the results that he was, well, I have to like tweaking these. It was a joy to achieve a result I couldn't have previously. So this first one, this astronaut, looking down in his replies, he mentions that this was actually made by taking a previously made image and adding AI Taylor Swift.
Right.
Can you see that?
I can see it, but it fails to capture that essence.
Is it just me or does this person have a ridiculously long neck?
Oh no, technically, like this makes no sense. Like you said, they have a long neck. There's other issues as well. For example, we have two bright lights where it should be direct light contact with the face if the lighting is like that, but instead only part of the face is lit up.
Yeah. And then there's also what looks like a galaxy effect. So
Yep.
I'm not
Not
actually
to mention,
sure.
you notice that there's hair to the side over there that just blends into the skull.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I didn't see that before. And I do actually now wonder the sides? The sides don't look like they're complete. They're uneven for one thing, but they do look
Yeah.
incomplete. Like I'm not sure what this part actually is.
She also isn't centered in the helmet.
The more you look at it, the more you're just like AI really does not understand placement of things.
No. I would argue the first result he got with the old woman in the AI in the spacesuit looks way better.
Probably because from the looks of it, this is what was expected to come out, and he just
Mhm.
added the this image of Taylor Swift over it.
Ironically, by adding the Taylor Swift, he ruined something.
And then there's the other one that he made.
Okay, that one's just all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, I remember like when I first saw this, the thing that really stuck out to me was the hairstyle is very inconsistent.
She
I'm not
looks like
sure
she's
what her
made of
hair
plastic.
is.
Like, not in terms of like art, but like legit plastic. Her hair is so blocky and jagged in weird places. It doesn't connect. And I get that maybe the AI was trying to make like, because you can see the background is blurred. But the issue,
Hmm.
and I've said this many times about AI, is it does not understand what a camera blur is. So it just tries to replicate it. Take a look at our right, her eye. Notice how the color just kind of drags into the corner of the eye.
It looks like she's got a giant pupil that's all the way leaned to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but that iris, if it's trying to like mimic how an actual iris looks, it looks more like it's inside of a cyclone.
The best way I can also put it is you may not notice this, but I noticed this because of anatomy. Um, Her eye looks like it's pointy, like her the way the eye is coming out of the socket makes it look like it has a point to it.
Is it just me, or does she have three sets of eyelashes?
She does.
Wow. And I also like want to take note of that outfit. The outfit does not look like it's symmetrical. Like that
Mhm.
this part is not the same as this part.
Oh, it's not, but it's also it's less that it's not there, it's almost not even there. Like it disappears entirely.
Hmm. And the funny thing about this one is he actually shows the process that he made for this one too. And
Mhm.
in this, he reveals that he has an artist name in there. It says, highly detailed by Greg Rakowski.
Mhm.
So he actually had to type in the name of an artist to get this result.
Do you notice again, we see the first result, right? The first result
Mhm.
is always the best, but the problem is to get something unique, they just cook it, and cook it until it's something completely horrible.
It's kind of like when you photocopy the same image multiple times.
Yeah, one thing that I point out, and I point this out to a lot of artists, it's like the best way I can describe it is this is like watching a beginner artist first learn how to use Camera Raw filter, and then they just bake the crap out of their artwork to where it just looks horrible. It's not because they're doing something wrong. It's because you have to actually know what you're doing adjusting settings. And I
Mhm.
will say, for a man who owns an AI project, he does not know how to utilize it very well.
Now I kind of am curious. How did this take an hour and a half?
It was because he kept randomly like, I will say what he's doing is he's refining, refining, refining. That takes time, and I will say that takes time, but the issue is it's a lot of playing around with settings and not actually doing anything. He's basically changing parameters and adding things and then hoping the result turns out good. And you'll notice in the process, it doesn't turn out good. So then he changes settings again and he made something that's bad worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
So through all his effort, he just made things worse.
Oy. Well, that was that image. I'm hoping to move on to ones now that are more humorous.
Hmm.
So I went into a Twitter thing that was just like generative AI images. Oh, wait, no.
Hmm.
This one.
Yes.
This one was a meme that I had seen for a while. And there's just like so many things wrong with it. I'm
Yeah.
sure you can figure things out.
Uh, I'm I'm not even gonna begin to talk about the hands. We all know the hand thing. But this is something we were actually talking at one point, but oh my gosh, I didn't know this before. The baby's missing a leg.
Yes, I saw, and not only that, but the pregnant wife is missing her entire bottom half.
Well, you can't fit it. Remember, it's meant to symbolize something, and by symbolize it, I mean that I just stuck a bunch of keywords in there, and now it means something, right?
I mean, hey, if his son can have his legs, why can't his wife?
But I'm not even going to focus on the main character for a moment. I want you to look bottom right. Look at that person walking on the street.
My God, their legs.
Specifically, that dude looks like an eldritch horror thing where his back leg just like is just an arch. He's basically a McDonald's arch.
Oh dear. I'm just mainly wanting to know what is with all these onions. Do you think that they were just like he wrote into the AI prompt, make him cry or I want him sadder, and the AI was like, ooh, onions make people cry. Let's add onions.
Certainly made that baby cry, and it wasn't his leg missing.
I would hope that he is adjusted at this point. Also, if you look at the baby's hands, they look like carrots, which is ironic because if you mix some carrots and these onions, you'd have a great stew.
Nice.
Also, those green onions, especially, how many is he holding that all come from the same stem?
Oh goodness, that
There's
is
just
some
like,
crazy. Yeah, there's only 4 onions there technically, but the leafage is absolutely bonkers.
see, like when AI tries to do things like this, where it tries to be metaphoric or do things like that, it just has so many varying complicated elements that really
Yeah.
cannot mesh.
I think my favorite thing, and AI does this a lot because it doesn't know how to separate things from the background. But I want you to look at his bottom left monstrosity hand and look at the tiling from the street around his hand.
Yeah, it's like warped around him, kind of like when someone tries to Photoshop a photo of themselves and the
Mhm.
background is warped as well.
Also, the perspective is incorrect throughout all of it. There's a bunch of different perspectives going everywhere.
Wonder where he's standing. Also, I find it funny that that's the hand that's empty for some reason. So life's not easy as a man. Sometimes you just have to grasp at nothing. It's a real struggle.
Oh
Hey,
goodness, it surely
shout
is.
out shout out to men out there. You deserve better. You deserve better than just having to hold all the onions. Make sure you get some carrots in there. Or
Yeah,
get a steak or something. Vary up your diet.
get some protein in there too. Don't eat the baby though. The leg, you shouldn't have eaten the leg. That's my opinion.
Oh no, he's eating the leg. He ate his wife's bottom half. That's
Oh
not what we
no.
mean by. Oh, I'm not even gonna go there. Never
Don't
mind.
even. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Okay, so this is from the generative AI thing on Twitter.
Oh, I was
So,
waiting to
whoa.
tackle this one. Oh, this is my favorite to make fun of the car ones.
Oh, I'm
Because
glad that I picked
here's
it
your
then.
go-to on the cars, right? You
Mm-hmm.
every time the AI will not be able to ever do this correctly. Notice how the reflection on the car on the right is a bright, clear as day, midday reflection
Uh-huh.
where the sun is fully out.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at the background, it's evening.
Yeah, it looks like there's light all around the car. But if
Yeah.
it would come from only that one side.
Yeah, so technically you have midday sun on the right, evening on the left. The blur of the tires is absolutely insane. And once again, we have the one thing that I always talk about, AI not knowing what to blur. Because one, this is supposed to be a photo, right? And photos
Mm-hmm.
do not have speed blur on them. So we have the line on the left of the pavement is no speed blur, just a little bit of blur on the dividing line. Then the part you're driving past, all that foliage is completely blurred. And we have what appears to be the lighting fog of the evening for the horizon line, but the horizon line is not straight, even though we clearly are not in a mountainous area.
Flat Earth debunked.
Yeah. Like the horizon line makes no sense.
Not only that, but I mean, you could just look at the headlights. One side is 4, one side is 3. Also, that door, I don't think that door is ever going to be able to open.
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes the manufacturers just make a mistake. I think you're being too picky.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry that I expect more from the people who design the things that are supposed to keep us alive from destination to destination. If there's a little design flaw, I'm sure it's no big deal.
Isn't that right, Boeing?
Oh God. Uh oh God. I tried to find some AI planes, but there wasn't even ones that I considered really worth it. Because
Yeah.
all of them, and honestly, if there were some AI planes, I would have gone the hell off of one of
Yeah,
those.
you plain nerd.
Hey, music nerd,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All
All
right.
right,
Who's the
next.
next?
All right, so this is also from the same section. So this one is a trend I usually see when it comes. Oh God,
Where
when
do I
your
begin?
breath. See, I want to preface these because I see a lot of these around Twitter,
Mhm.
especially is like the cutesy anime girl that on the offsets may not necessarily look wrong, but when you
Mhm.
actually look at it, there's things that are off. I mean, already I'm
Mhm.
starting to see some things, but based on your reaction, I want to hear what you have to say.
So first off, we have the moon, right?
Uh huh. That is certainly a moon
Why is the face the moon is completely behind her, right? Why is the face lit up like that?
because she's got a spotlight on her, obviously.
Yeah, but where is it coming from and why is it blue? Also, the eyelashes aren't nearly long enough to cast a shadow from the eye socket. There are so many light sources happening right now that
Hmm.
cannot be explained and disappear in other places.
You know, it's funny. I learned about a term in film called a light strike, which is
Mhm.
where you have on film a source of light that doesn't actually exist in the world. So it's
And it's
clear that it
just meant
is
to
made
light
by
up
an
the
artificial.
character.
Yeah, it's just meant, it's like an artificial source, but realistically, there's no reason that light should be there.
Right. It's meant to make the character appear. And some people would argue that that's a good thing to do for art, and it is, but there has to be within reason. If you're going to light up one character with an opposite light, that light has to reflect the entirety of the artwork. There is something that this AI artwork is doing right though in terms of lighting.
What is that?
If you notice around the back of the neck, there's a little bit of a white haze to separate her from the background. And that's actually correct. That's a tool artists use to separate the character from the background. And I use it as well. And technically, you really want to use that, especially when the light's coming from behind the character, because it has to separate. The thing is, it wouldn't be blue. It would be yellow. It would be a yellow haze.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there are rules to it. The blue haze would technically only appear if there was a source of null light or a null light that's blue. And I think that's what the AI was trying to do
Hmm.
because it sees other artworks doing this, but it doesn't understand how it works. Like, for example, Blizzard, their artists do this a lot. And I can tell this artwork is inspired by the works of Blizzard lead artists, but it does not understand the rhyme or reason.
Yeah, there's other things that I just noticed, like right off the bat, is the hairline is off center. One of
Mhm.
the ears is more forward. The hair, that's a terrible haircut. Like, get your money back. And yeah, just in general, uh, God, if you actually just look in closer at things, like the neck piece, like blends into her neck in some places.
Mhm. There's also the shapes don't make any sense. They become like a they kind of morph and blend into each other in a way that's not natural.
It's ironic, like AI is known for being overly detailed, and we'll see that in future ones as well. But
But the
that
details don't
overly
make sense.
detail, yeah, the details don't make sense, or they're just so complicated that they end up blending into each other,
Mhm.
which we will see some more of that. So moving on to the next one. Okay, what's wrong with this? This is meant to be real people. Like it's not that AI like very blurry plastic. Like it's meant to look like a real image.
Mhm. So The first thing I notice, and like this is a cheap shot when it comes to AI, but like the hands and arms don't make sense.
Mm,
That all these women look the same. I would say the only one that sticks out to me as looking a little bit different is the girl on the left, but I think that's because she's probably referenced off of a real person.
mm-hmm.
But um notice the neckline too. The collarbone is one solid piece on the girl on the left.
That sounds painful.
It also is weirdly lumpy.
Also, the two girls on the left, at least I think in terms of their hair, at least their hair is morphing together.
No, it totally is. I'm trying not to pick out the easy stuff, even though in the beginning I was like, "What is up with those hands?" But you know,
I
it
mean,
is
hey,
what it
we
is.
keep coming back to the hands for a reason.
Yeah. I will say the moment AI figures out hands, um, I don't think it's going to solve a lot of AI's problems, but it'll definitely make give people pause for a little bit.
Yeah, you still have to look closer to see.
Also, I hate this. Why is the background still so blurry?
Because if it had to render the background, it might give itself a concussion.
Also, I do not believe that prompt was all he used.
I find it funny that this has a watermark.
Oh yeah, you got to watermark the things you didn't make because you at the end of the day, you own the thing you don't own.
I mean, technically speaking, you can't copyright AI, so what's
Mhm.
the point of watermarking it?
Yep.
All right, moving on to another one. Okay, so this is one that I think on the offset, it looks like a cool piece of art or a cool
Mhm.
image. But looking closer, there are definitely things I notice. What do you see? What is your first impression?
My first impression is this is a classic example of why more detail isn't always good.
Hmm.
There's clearly supposed to be reflection, but the reflection is not reflecting anything that's there.
I guess this is a thing I do notice with AI is that it makes images that look cool, but I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. Like if I see an art like this by an artist, they are clearly trying to make a thing that I can like, oh, I recognize what this is supposed to be, but it's like just more
Yeah.
ethereal or more dreamlike.
Plus, no artist in their right mind would have this much detail happening.
I don't even know how you would start to draw something like this.
No, it's like people who make complex and intricately detailed artwork are usually criticized by artists for like things like what in the world is your focus? Why do you have me looking everywhere? You are wasting my
Mm.
time.
That is a good point. In something like this, there isn't a focal point. There's not really a thing to draw
This
the eye to.
there's technically a focal point, but the problem is there's like several of them and I have no idea where to look. If I were to tell you right now when I asked you what is the focus of this artwork, you would tell me
Um,
is it the guy standing there? Is it the sunset? Is it the person in the sky? I can't tell because they all are clearly fighting for attention.
and is it just me, or does this kind of look like the? This kind of looks like the cover of Dragon Age Inquisition.
Which one? The first one? Oh yeah, Inquisition. Sorry,
Like here, let me
I was just thinking Dragon Age. No, I know what you're talking about.
here. Oh, I want to like show this. Well, I probably can show it later, but I swear to God, like if you overlap this thing, it's like this part is the wings of the dragon.
Mhm.
These are on the sides are like all the different mountains that are there, and then the person standing in the middle. This literally looks like the outline of that dragon.
I could see what you're
Wow.
saying. Yeah,
Maybe I'm going crazy, but I swear to God, like if I actually pull it up side
it's
by
a
side,
similar
there'll be things to it.
composition. The problem is there's not a lot happening here. Like if I were to squint my eyes, I would tell you what the true focus is, and it's the sun. But it
Hmm.
doesn't know it's the sun because it tries to put if the sun and the person was the focus, what you would want to do to fix this artwork is you would put the
Hmm.
sun directly on top of the person and then have that X that's being drawn really 100% fully like in terms of mathematically align with that character so you know clearly and definitively where to look. This is an example of a focal point that is not focused.
Well, I think in that case, then when we see the next one, we'll also get the same idea. Because it's the same
Mhm.
person that prompted this. And actually, now that I think about it, this just looks like a dumbing down a detail from the last thing.
And I would argue it's a lot better. My
Hmm.
my there's not a lot to criticize here. I would actually argue that this is a very solid piece of work from AI.
Hmm.
Like maybe the horizon doesn't make sense, but that's being nitpicky. I would argue because this person simplified things, and I think that's the reason why a lot of AI artists their stuff doesn't look good is because they're always wanting more detail, but more
Hmm.
detail isn't the answer. In
Yeah.
art, less is more.
Like this, I can at least tell what I'm looking at. It's a desert landscape, some buildings or mountains in the background. Like this is something
Mhm.
that I can see like an actual artist would do. It's a recognizable place that's just amped up.
The only like criticism I would have is the AI clearly thinks that the horizon line is water, whereas the foreground it's very clearly defined as sand.
Hmm. I mean, maybe it is water, but it's just too blended.
Yeah, so technically we have AI making a horizon line of water trying to reflect the orb back onto the water, but it also goes above the water. So technically what we have is two suns and a moon.
What is this? Tatooine? I think we're on Tatooine.
I think we're on Tatooine, but it's prettier.
That's yeah, it's pretty. Although I do feel bad for the person in the foreground. He's clearly missing half of his arm.
It's okay, he'll die. He's in the
Yeah, I
desert, he's
guess
dead.
that's true. I mean, is it during the night? Is it during the day? Either way, he's fucked.
I will say though, with your critique of missing half the arm, I will say that maybe his arm could possibly be in front of him. I don't mean to play
His
devil's advocate, but I will say that
mm,
this is a surprisingly solid piece from AI. The
yeah.
shadows from the dune close to the person don't make any sense, but
Mhm.
it's solid.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have some of these that I actually think look good rather than just, taking cheap
Mhm.
shots at AI. Because I actually wanted
Yeah.
to show more the nuances of it. Now, that being
Mhm.
said, I don't actually remember what my next one was. Oh, wait a minute. They know. Yeah, we talked
Oh
about these
god, this
before,
one.
but
Oh,
the
this one haunts
AI,
my dreams, man.
the astronaut brides, this actually came from a full on article about somebody who is making these AI images of astronaut brides, which is a very
Mhm.
interesting and specific prompt.
Mhm.
So I know you and I talked about this before. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna go through my common criticisms first. More detail isn't always better. Everything's blending into each other. There's no
Hmm.
focus. The helmet
She's
disappears
gonna
and goes
die.
into her neck. Yeah.
If she was an
Um.
actual astronaut, she'd be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, these sorts of things, I'm just like, I don't know how you would think to add some of these details, like as an
The stuff
actual
with her
artist.
eyelashes on the right.
Oh, that too. When it comes to the detailing, I'm just like, I don't see what the thought process would be to actually add this like physically.
She looks like a giant dust bunny.
uh, Apologies to whoever this was based off of. I'm sure you don't look like a dust bunny, but AI did not treat you
No,
kindly.
because she doesn't wear a dust bunny in space.
I would hope not. All right, let's see what this next one was. Yeah,
Oh,
this
it's
one is.
Jake from State Farm. He has become the tires.
So this actually goes into some more specific things. I got this from basically a person doing a compilation of different careers. But let's see if you see the thing that made me be like, that ain't right.
Well, the big thing that I'm looking at, it came back to my comment of he has become the tires.
Yes, AI does not understand how you carry tires.
No, I just think it's thinking far ahead. Like it's thinking in terms of the future. In the future, we will be able to be so strong, we will be able to phase into the atoms of the things around us. Imagine how much easier it'll be to carry things in the future.
I mean, I would hope so, but I would just hope that he is able to remove his hands from those tires and they're not going to have a giant hole in them.
This
Because
is
that's going
the
to cause some
American
problems.
future that Joe Biden wants us to have, and we should be
No,
scared.
no, this is the future that Joe Amicable wants.
Joe Amicable,
Amicable.
Cheery.
Hold on, wait, no. Is it amicable or amicable?
Mickbleh. I like Tari. And I will say, I'm happy that they have a hospital here.
Yes, it's the very common tire shop and hospital. You know, for when actually no, that would make sense because if you're in an accident where you have to get your tires fixed, might as well get healed up at the same spot.
Hell yeah. See, AI's thinking ahead. This is why we need it.
God, I'm liking that. You know what? Shout out to AI. You're doing the big brain thinking.
Yeah.
Although there is just one more
Curing
thing I do want to bring
Alzheimer's
up,
and
that's
curing my ability to carry things. Thank you.
I just want to know. I don't know what his name tag is supposed to say, but that is like a big giveaway with AI. Is anything text based? It
He's
just
got
really cannot
some
do
nice
right.
titties.
Oh, for God's sake!
Sorry, just gotta be real.
I like how his veins are inconsistent. I don't know how
What?
symmetrical
Okay,
veins
no,
are.
I gotta push back. What the hell is an inconsistent vein?
What I mean is that there's one long vein going across his bicep that doesn't exist on the other side.
Well,
Now,
why
I'm
would
not
it?
very.
Our veins are different on each other's sides. I'm a phlebotomist.
See,
I
that's
know
why-
this.
Okay, well, that's why I was asking. I didn't know how symmetrical
Were you
veinage is in the
asking?
That's why I said I don't know how symmetrical veins are.
No, veins
why I
are
said
not symmetrical. Every part of your body has a different circular system going on.
Okay, well, that's why I said I don't know. Why you gotta be so mean, you asshole? You're not being very amicable right now.
Thank you. You should get yourself checked into the tire hospital.
Anyway, moving on. Okay, so this is another example of something that on the outside looks
it
cool.
hurts to look at. Like there's
Yeah.
too much detail. This is like almost like if you have trypophobia, this will trigger it.
Oh God, you're right. Also, I'm not sure what's going. I guess I kind of get the idea of like it's two warring sides. You know, the side of orange and of teal and orange. They're fighting for their space on
Yeah,
summer
we
movie
got ice and
posters.
fire fighting each other while the Pegasus of many wings and Be Not Afraid is up in the top.
Well, well, hold on. Like that Pegasus seems to be fighting for both sides because it's got some blue, it's got some orange.
It's only got a little bit of blue. Only a little bit of blue on the wing. Here's the thing about the Pegasus, though. That is straight up a biblically accurate angel or seraphim.
Oh
Like,
God,
Be
don't
Not
ask AI
Afraid.
to make
It's like,
angels.
sir, I'm living in the land of trypophobia and a winged horse that just looks like it's made up of 1,000 wings. Where are your eyes, madam? I'm scared.
Also, I'm curious what is they're fighting for here because there's this castle, and then this castle.
Yeah, the third castle was the one I was curious about because it's very clearly playing off of like movie posters and like good versus evil, but there's nobody in the middle on both sides. And if we're claiming the Pegasus is what's like the castle in the middle looks exactly the same. Why does it look exactly the same?
Well, because this one is not flavored with orange jello or blueberry jello.
We're always forgetting about the tropical berry versus blue raspberry wizards.
Yes, we're fighting against the freeze rush and I don't know, the orange Gatorade.
Meanwhile, biblically accurate.
Wait, no. Hold on. No, this is the fight between NyQuil, Morning and Night.
Yeah. Well, we got biblically accurate unicorn over there coming down and being like, don't worry, guys. We can be friends. We're all artificial flavors.
Gosh. It's just like that outfit. God help the person who stitched the outfit. Also, looking down here, like when it from the people and it just blends in. Like usually when artists like try to draw crowds like go off into the distance, they just get less and less detail, but they still have like recognizable shapes.
Yeah.
This just becomes it looks like a
blob of trypophobia. Yeah.
My apologies if you have trypophobia. I did not mean to.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? At the beginning of this section, I'm going to add a trigger warning for trypophobia.
Okay, good idea.
All right. All right. Then moving on to the next one was also from the same place. This is actually
Okay.
something that I have been subject to a lot and seen these experiences that advertise using AI images.
Mhm. So,
Like there was that yes,
um, the thing I'm gonna say is it's decently solid. The issue I'm seeing is like if I could be nitpicky here, the
please do.
dirt, the dirt. It's like it's made of ground. It's made of the bottom of the Captain Crunch box.
Oh gosh. You know, I thought I was like Yellow Brick Road, but this is Yellow Brick Road after it got sanded down.
No, it's not even sanded down, man. It's straight up the bottom of the Captain Crunch box.
Also, is this on a hill? Is this in
Yeah,
a
it's on a hill.
forest?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I guess it's a hobbit hole. But I more so want to get like there's this thing about people who use AI to market these experiences. Like
Hmm.
there's that Willy Wonka one where
Oh yeah, that
yeah, where they use
that
AI
drug
to
shit.
advertise it, but it turned out to like, it all was false. People
Yeah,
using AI to try to sell something that doesn't actually even look like this.
we are literally about to live in an age where you can't trust a single thing. A Like the internet originally was made to give people more information, and now we have so much information, but none of it can be trusted.
Especially now that AI has been shown to be misinforming people, and this has been so widespread. Like I see
It
this on
hallucinates,
YouTube.
dude. It'll
Yeah.
come up with fake facts and then tell you that it's a fact.
It oh god. Now I watched a video essay recently where a person basically made up the entire first part of their video to show how you can't just trust things blindly. She
Yeah.
literally said she said in the video, sociologist Rhonda Santis, which that should have been my first red flag. But I mean, that's obvious because like you hear that, but that is a thing that can happen. We just trust something if it looks professional or if it
And not to
looks
mention, Ron
correct.
DeSantis makes us think, oh, that's a real person because
Right?
of
Yeah.
the Ron DeSantis connection. We don't question it, and with the way that a lot of people consume media, with it being on in the background, and you get kind of half of it, but also not half. Um,
Hmm.
it causes problems. Not to mention, so many people are just getting bad information. It
Yeah.
may be entertaining to just turn off your brain and listen to somebody explain something to you, but I'm more annoyed that people don't cite their sources. And this
Hmm.
goes back to like that whole H bomber guy video, but man, that's there's a lot of truth to his plagiarism video.
There is, and now it's gotten everyone very hyper vigilant and thinking and seeing anything that could be
And I think that's a
plagiarism.
good thing.
Yeah, because when we're in this day and age where there's so much stuff that we're supposed to take in, it gets hard to know what we can trust, and there's people who will exploit that trust. Like James Somerton, like mentioned in the video, he got away with a lot because he presented himself professionally. I watched
Mhm.
someone do a review of his latest apology where they basically talked about how James looks like a professional, but in reality, he doesn't know anything about camera work. He kind of had like the
Mhm.
same problems of AI. Like that latest apology video, he had terrible blur. The depth was confusing and it
Yeah.
was way too desaturated. He
Yep.
had the appearance of someone who knows what he's doing because he's got an expensive camera and 4K resolution.
We may have to move on. Starting to run out of time.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see.
Oh, it's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, AI hands.
Yeah.
This is just an image that gives me a headache. But I wanted to just be like, yeah, hands. Right, and then this next one. So this is another person
Ah,
who.
yes, the anime stuff. Um, so this is what's
What?
infuriating. AI has really like it doesn't fully understand anime, but it has
Hmm.
so many good things to reference that it kind of gets
Hmm.
it. The a few things don't make sense, like the wings, obviously. Um,
Mm,
the light source on her versus the light source on everything else. No, there's a lot of things that don't really make full sense.
mm-hmm,
But like I said, another big thing to notice is like I point this out a lot when it comes to this AI stuff, but the perspective's all wrong.
Also, speaking of, you talked about how AI references a lot of anime. It's referenced yours too, right?
Oh yeah, it's taken from mine.
Uh, I'm sorry,
I
dude.
was on a list of artists that they were that AI learned from.
Well, that's disappointing. I'm just going to like go. I'm going to see like if there's nothing really like new. Oh, this.
Okay, yeah, this stuff pisses me off. Like actually makes me mad.
Yeah, I remember we talked about how when Toriyama passed away, there was a lot of like actual artists making their tribute pieces, and then some AI artists posting their stuff.
It's just disrespectful. People can argue all day that artists making art after Toriyama's passing was opportunistic for attention, but at least they made something and made a real tribute. AI art is a spit in his goddamn face.
Hmm. I'll post that like that meme that you shared, but it literally just it's taking all the art that those people made, or even the art that Toriyama made to do
Mhm.
this. It literally was stealing from him to make
You
this.
you literally you've literally stolen from him to make this, and then you had the
Hmm.
gall to say that you're doing it as a tribute. Fuck off. This makes me irrationally angry at just the bottom feeding side of it.
No, I'd say you're rational. I mean, it's like that one artist who, when they passed away, people started stealing their art and selling it as NFTs.
Yep.
I'll post that on the screen. I don't remember
It's
the
just
person's
it's
name.
just
Um,
opportunistic scumbags. And not to mention, it irritates me even more because the dragon being utilized looks nothing like an Akira Toriyama dragon.
That's true. It's the wrong color. It doesn't have the right eyes. It looks more like a fantasy style dragon.
Or like a Chinese.
Also, it's got a fucked up mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this, you'll find more AI problems, just like you do in anything else. This next one, I think I have like six more examples, so we'll try to go through
Okay.
them quick as possible. It does not really. Oh, this one was just another example of
Oh,
AI trying to look realistic and be like an actual thing.
that basket actually makes me nauseous. Like
Oh
it
God,
makes me dizzy.
is that more trypophobia?
No, that's just literally me looking at it makes me a little bit dizzy.
Yeah, I probably should move on from this one, but I will point out that the strawberry on the bottom right, the stem
Yeah.
is on the wrong place. That's a fucked up strawberry. Oh, this was a thing I want to talk about more specifically. So when Nicki Minaj put out her album Pink Friday 2, a lot of people were encouraged to make AI images of Gag City. There's tons of
Mhm.
these out there, and it's all just like pink. And
Yeah.
a lot of people criticize Nicki because she didn't put out a lot of promotional art. It was all AI generated. She even put out one that had six hands, no, six fingers.
Yeah.
And people were saying when you're using AI as your marketing campaign, you're basically showing that you don't really have a budget.
Yep.
So ironically, it can look as flashy and as colorful as this, but it looks cheap and you just come across as cheap.
Yep.
Also, that poor person's got a fucked up spine.
I was too busy looking at their legs.
Okay, this one.
Oh goodness, on
This is the
LinkedIn of
one.
all places. Oh my god, that's horrible.
I actually
Oh,
did find an example of what was supposed to be. This is an article saying that this was AI that was powering a jet, but it came along with this image. And I just want to say this is not a plane. No plane like this could ever exist. It's going to fall out of the sky, crash and burn. The engines in the back, is this an F 16? Is this a Eurofighter? Is this a Raphael? What is this? It is
I don't
just
even need to be a plane
wrong.
nut to know that this is all kinds of wrong. This is
Yeah, and as a plane nut, it pisses me off. I can't tell what weapons it has. I just know it is going to be dragging itself so hard in the
Well,
sky.
it
It's not even
clearly
going to
has
take off.
bayonets attached to the right side of the right wing.
Oh, for those moments when the plane gets up close and personal and jabs away at something.
Yeah.
That's how they fought in World War I. Actually, instead of guns, people just like stabbed each other at the sides of their planes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Old Klaus, I stabbed him with plane.
okay, this one, this is another trend I keep seeing is AI shoes, and this one was actually made by a shoe wear company. Could this actually work as a shoe?
I don't think so, but it does look interesting.
Yeah, AI is good at making pieces of clothing that look interesting. Like there was a whole trend about people making AI dresses. They look interesting, but I hope no one actually tries to use these to sell anything or make it out like this is a thing that could be worn. Because honestly, this shoe, unless this is like a hard surface, I feel like it would make it difficult to walk in. All right, so there's three more ads or three more things, and I'm actually going to combine these two.
Okay.
So what you're seeing here, these are YouTube channels that use AI for their thumbnails. One of them is this channel that cooks meals in their dorm room. It's impressive, actually, like how they managed to basically make full-on hibachi. They made a beef Wellington in their dorm, but they use AI for their thumbnails. And I remember whenever I see it, it's always in a pot. Especially,
That's fascinating because honestly, I truly believe thumbnails are one of the applications of AI that I don't have a problem with.
yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Um Thumbnails are something that you can have thumbnail artists, but usually the YouTuber makes all their stuff themselves for the most part. And
Mhm.
I believe like because things in thumbnails are already greatly exaggerated, I would actually argue that using AI to generate thumbnails, you still made the video yourself. You still did some editing to the thumbnail to like add some arrows or whatever. So you've put in a lot of
Mhm.
work. The video is still yours. I almost want to give people a pass for using AI for thumbnails.
Hmm. Interesting. I didn't really think about that, but it's true. I guess in this case, yeah, you're not trying to fool anybody with it.
No, it's like AI is fantastic for thumbnails. And I think like I also think AI is good that if you don't know what to title your video, AI can give you generic titles and then you can kind of change and tweak it into something that is more human to say. For example, like with some of my videos I've done, I when I can't find a name for my video, I will sometimes come up with basically I'll summarize what the topic of my video is, then ask them to create a title like this, and I'll cycle through a few of them and say, okay, so these are the general title ideas that are usually most successful. Now, I don't like any of these, but I'll take the essence of what they
Mhm.
are and repurpose it into my own words.
Uh, and finally, this here is the last thing that I wanted to show you. It's something we already talked about, but there was a competition in Colorado where the person actually. Oh, hold on. Did I skip over that one?
I think you did, yeah.
Eh, You know what? It kind of just blends into everything else at this point. But there was one that I wanted to talk about specifically. So,
Yes, I have seen this one. This is one I know about.
this is the one that
This,
won an art competition.
mhm,
So, how do you feel about this even like competing in an art competition?
it's incredibly it's incredibly fucking disingenuous
Mm-hmm.
because everyone there played by the rules, and then you and your infinite wisdom to prove a point. So they based off the assumption that you made this yourself, and they were like, "Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's impressive! Look what they made themselves." And this was before people knew what to look for, right? These judges
Right.
were not prepared for somebody to use AI because they just thought, wow, this is a crazy amount of detail. This looks really good. But they didn't really take a closer look. And I almost want to say that though they didn't know it was fake, they were probably just thinking visually it's spectacular. and that's it.
Which is funny because looking at this image, like after having talked to you about this, I now recognize some of the telltale things about it.
Oh,
And
there's
looking at this
tons of
image, I kind of just get to the realization of I have no idea what I'm looking at. If they're looking into a window or a portal, the foreground blends into the background. The
what in the
humans,
world is the story they're trying to tell?
I don't know. I think this is a problem that I see so much with AI art that tries to do things like this is that it's so concerned with just like looking visually interesting that it doesn't think about anything beyond that, like a
Mhm.
story it could tell or a feeling it's supposed to invoke beyond just looking cool. Because AI
Yeah.
doesn't know how to tell stories, just what a story resembles. And it is especially galling to me since this same person said that art is dead upon winning this.
Yeah. I would just want to say that this winning a competition, even if the person who made it was trying to prove a point, the fact
Hmm.
that they even did it shows that they were more interested in proving a point than being respectful to their other artist peers.
Hmm. I think anyone who actually respects art would not go down a route like this,
Yeah.
especially knowing how many artists, how much of their work was put into this to make this result in the end.
At the end of the day, all AI is sampling and then repackaging. People always argue the fact that, well, artists technically all they do is take art and resample it. I'm like, that's such a stupid way to look at it. And that it removes
Hmm.
the human aspect of what makes something unique.
And it's an insulting notion because there's a difference between taking inspiration from something or even like using something as a reference image. Like whenever I even commission, I take reference images of myself or from other
Right.
things to be like, this is what I'm thinking to get the
Hmm.
ball rolling. But AI takes it and it's it makes me think of this metaphor of adding something to a trough.
Hmm.
It can be a very beautiful piece of food, like a wedding cake or something, but you just add it to the trough and it just gets homogenized into anything else.
Right.
Ironically enough, it results in something that doesn't really have uniqueness or a soul. Like when I look at your art, it may just like initially seem like, cute anime girl, but there is something special about it. It's your style, your coloring, your lighting. There's
Hmm.
a passion behind it.
Yeah.
With this, I just get a sense of cynicism.
Hmm. It's cold.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing with AI images that I've seen is that it's just comes off as devoid of life, devoid of a
Mhm.
soul.
It also shows a flaw in critics and judges when it comes to how they
Hmm.
judge art. They
Yeah.
usually focus on things like lighting or technique, and that's cool and all because that's like fundamental stuff, but they're not looking deeper. The reason why sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not something is AI or not, if there's no soul behind it, I would argue the better artist you are, but the more you hate the art you're making, the more people are going to think it's AI because people can tell when somebody's heart isn't in it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say so too. Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for going through all of these with me and for giving a bit more insight as to the ways AI appropriates art, basically,
Hmm.
and just how to keep an eye out for when something might be AI, when someone's trying to pull a fast one on you. And to anyone out there who does use AI and tries to say that they're an AI artist, if you're having fun with it, okay, whatever. But if you try to actually make out that you're an artist, you're not. Because there's
I,
nothing that you've done to actually make a piece of art. It's just an image that maybe looks cool.
and I would like to point out we are not gatekeeping art. We are
Hmm.
making sure because we're not trying to put you down for making something that you think is nice and that you love. What we're
Hmm.
trying to do is let you know that just because effort was put into it, it doesn't make it art. Just because it's pretty doesn't make it art. Art is something specific, it's something human, it's something intentional. The best way I can put it, I always use this analogy. If you take away my computer and drawing program today, I can still draw.
Hmm.
You say that AI art is a tool. The problem is when you take away the AI, there's nothing left to make art with. You didn't make anything.
Hmm.
You can't make art after AI art is gone because you have not learned a skill. It's not art. You did not develop it.
And honestly, if you just drew like a stick figure, but it was just you, that counts more as art than anything you can make with a prompter
Mhm.
because that was you. So, funnily enough, this exposes the way that people like that would see art, that they don't actually understand what art is.
Mhm.
They think they just see pretty images and like, "Oh, I can do that." But there is a lack of intent, there's a lack of soul.
The normal person's understanding of art is that art is a picture. Art is not a picture.
Mhm.
Art is the expression of creativity done by a human being.
Mhm.
That's it's the same reason why animals can't make art because art is specifically human.
Thank you so much for doing this, and I hope that everyone who watches this looks forward to the video that I do have coming out on the same topic. Where I go more in depth about AI, and I do seriously hope you follow Steven. He is a great artist, and if you have aspirations to be an artist yourself, I think I'll leave that actually to Steven. If you have any words for someone who is using this but still has aspirations to make art.
You can improve. Don't don't worry so much on if your stuff is good or not yet. Learn to love the process first. If you don't enjoy the process, maybe art isn't for you. If you're just doing art for attention or to be praised, that's not a good reason and it's going to cause you to be dejected. The reason a lot of
Hmm.
people want to be called art AI artists is because they want all the validation of being an artist and the praise that comes with it without having to put in the work. Getting praised for something you did, make sure you actually did it because otherwise it's just hollow.
And with a little bit of time and effort and dedication, I mean, how many years on your end, Steven?
Like I said, 4 years serious, almost 12 years of just farting around.
So if you actually want to do this, it can be a long journey. But
Hmm.
if it's what you want to do, then I and Steven, we encourage you to pursue the things you want to do. Put your vision out there, put your stories out there. Someone is dying to see them.
Yes.
And no one is dying for more of this. All right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, please do follow Steven, and I hope you look forward to the videos I have coming up. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Don't message any of these people, and make something creative. Bye. Say bye, Steven.
Bye.